Hello Aquarius, this video is going to be for Aquarius Sun, Moon and Rising for August 2020. Aquarius, so on the 3rd of August we're going to have a full moon in your sign, Aquarius, and this is going to bring up a lot of releasing when it comes to you, personally you. What is it that you want for yourself? What is it that you need? And you're going to find yourself feeling unhappy, a bit down, feeling sad. Embrace those feelings as you are now releasing all feelings and seeing what needs to change, because full moons all bring to light what brings us unhappy. It's often a time where we have to let go. We got to process our pain, things that hurt us, things that make us feel, unhappy. And you got to do that during this full moon and go through the process of releasing, feeling the tears, feeling the feelings, which is not something that Aquarius is comfortable with because they are an air sign. So oftentimes they feel their feelings, but it takes them a bit of a minute to get that feeling of their actual feelings. Most times they just want to push through and not get into the depth of how they truly feel. So during this full moon, it's going to connect you deeply to your feelings. Allow for that, even things of the past, allow for that. Anything where you feel you've lost, that's wounded you or made you feel sad, you're going to be feeling it. So allow those feelings to pass for new things to enter. Then on the 5th, we have Mercury joining the Sun, and on the 18th and 19th, the new moon as well. And this is going to be happening in your 7th house of relationships. So with Mercury, you're going to be thinking a lot about relationships, how you relate to others, how others relate to you, and the Sun, clarity over your relationships. Notice how the energy is between yourself and others. So you're actually releasing things that actually hurt you, things that you need to let go of, shining light on basically what you want to let go of in order to bring happiness with the full moon. And then you're taking this energy forward with the new moon back into relationships. How can you create new beginnings in relationships? How can you rejuvenate relationships? Who really cares? Who really doesn't? Really evaluating your relationships around the new moon and mentally with Mercury as well. Really thinking about relationships and what is it that you truly want. On the 8th of August, Venus will be moving into the 6th house for you. So this is where you can tend to have a sweet tooth when it comes to what you eat, with Venus being there in the 6th house. But this is where you want to be of service, and also pertains to your work life. So how you work with others, how do you be of service with what it is that you have to offer, wanting to find a good routine, really finding comfort as well within your work routine. And what it means by finding comfort is, like, if you're unhappy, actually seeing why you're unhappy and see how you can create those changes, because it's so important. Remember, the full moon, the first thing we spoke about was about releasing things that made you feel unhappy. So if you're feeling unhappy and stagnant at work, it's now the time to bring about change. If you want to get a new job, if you want to seek other employment, if you want to get employment, you got to put yourself out there now and motivate yourself to be open to these energies and release your insecurities with the full moon that's happening in Aquarius, your sign. So releasing all those things so that it can come forth, and then you're going to have all this relationship energy where you're relating to others with the new moon. And then on the 8th of August, with Venus moving to the 6th house, your routine, your work, your personal space, all of that kind of energy. Then on the 20th, we have Mercury, and Mercury will be moving into your 8th house, as well as on the 23rd, the Sun will be moving into your 8th house. So the 8th house is about everything hidden. It's about finances. It's also about thinking about your finances, but also thinking about everything hidden as well, especially with Mercury. It's a lot about, what is actually being said to you? What are other people saying to you? What are you actually thinking? What thoughts that you suppressed are now surfacing, because Mercury is in the 8th house, and the 8th house is Scorpio. It's everything we suppress and hold back. But it also gives you the opportunity to actually become more open and honest with yourself so that you can develop more intimate relationships. When we are more open and honest with ourselves, and we don't put ourselves in situations where we deny our worst habits or deny our insecurities, and just push aside, but be honest, be like, yeah, I failed at that and that made me feel like a failure. You can actually feel better because you actually admit it, and you don't feel any, feelings when you say those things about yourself. You realize, yeah, I failed, but I learned, and now I'm at this place. So it's a whole process, and lots of us have insecurities because we suppress our deepest feelings. So it's about exploring those hidden feelings, about researching. It's also about your finances, putting all of those things into order. It's beautiful energy for finance as well, with the sun in the 8th house, because that's like money also coming in. So it's very blessed as well. Then we have Mars in your 3rd house. Mars in your 3rd house for the next several months is all about communication. How do you communicate? Taking action when it comes to communication. And when I think of Aquarius, you're a fixed sign, fixed air, so you'll live a lot in your heads more than you'll actually verbally communicate. So to have Mars communication in your 3rd house is where you actually push now, and certain things will happen in your life where you push to speak, make more phone calls, call companies, call insurances, all those kinds of things that you wouldn't think to need to do, but now you are called upon to communicate, to take active role in communication, to take an active role in communicating to those people closest to you as well, because Mars is in that 3rd house of communication, really pushing you to communicate, pushing you to express yourself, be passionate in the way that you communicate as well. So really allowing for your feelings to surface. Because oftentimes Aquarius is very much to themselves when it comes to their feelings, and they live around their head and they don't really express themselves. So now you have all this energy to assist you in expressing yourself so that you can allow others in. Even some of that 8th house energy is more about intimacy and allowing others in, trusting yourself about relationships you don't trust as well, because you must know the sun in the 8th house is shining light on things that are hidden as well. So seeing who you don't trust, but being aware that, oh, okay, I trust you. So having that innate clarity with the sun as well. Very beautiful energy. Enjoy the month of August and your full moon, Aquarius.